this is Kim with Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to talk about women's gun belts. Belts are by far one of the most underrated parts of concealed carry. Everyone always wants to, what holster do you carry? And they want to spend all this money on a holster. And then they carry it with their normal fashion belts. And I'm telling you, if you want to have a good carry experience, make sure you have a sturdy gun belt. I thought I would show you some of my favorites I've been using for quite a while, and I have a brand new one I was setting up for one of my favorite companies, and I thought I would show you guys how I set it up. So let's get started. My first one I like a lot is from Tactica. I don't even know if they still make this, but I really like it because it's a women's, it's got a nice little pattern to it, but still very sturdy. My other one I have is another leather option, and it's from Deltec, and I will also put a link to this if you want to see it. It's on Amazon, I know for sure. What I look for in a belt, for me as a woman, is I like it to be thinner. Not thinner as in the thickness, but thinner as in the width, because I want it to be able to fit in my belt loops. And most women's pants don't have huge belt loops. Another thing to look at when you're looking for a belt, if you're looking for a leather style, is making sure that the holes are closer together. You want your holes closer together versus being farther apart. Traditional belts usually are about like an inch or so apart, but this helps with concealment because you want your gun to be nice and close to you, and maybe you might switch holsters, or you might be wearing a mag pouch that day, or whatever you're doing. You want to be able to make those adjustments, and so you can keep it as close to your body as possible. My other one that I really like a lot is from Vetter, and I did do a full review of this one. This is actually Neil's. I let someone else borrow mine at the moment, so I don't have it. But why I like this one is I like to wear a lot of those tactical leggings, so those leggings with the belt loops and the pockets, especially if I want to be at the range all day. It's comfortable, and it's just, I like to wear them. So these look great with those versus having like a leather belt with leggings. I don't know, it just to me looks a little odd. So I love this belt. I've been using it a long time. Same thing, it's nice and tough, but it's not too thick, and it works really well with those. We've been longtime followers and friends with Core, K-O-R-E, and Neil's been wearing their belts for a while. I've worn them before too, and I think they're great. However, they've always just been a little bit too wide for a lot of my pants. Now they have a 1.25 option, so still all those great features that they've always had, but now it's that width is less, which I am super excited to start using. So you can see the height is shorter, which is gonna mean it's gonna fit in a lot more pants. I got my new belt and I was starting to set it up, and Neil said, you should show people how you do this, because I'm sure a lot of people get this belt and they start just figuring I could do this, and then they mess up and they cut it too short, and then once you cut it too short, you can't fix it. So I thought I would just show you real quick how you set these up. The first thing you're going to notice is you're going to get a really long piece of belt, which is great because if you're buying it for someone else or you're unsure about what size you are, you cut it to your size. So you can select how big you want it. And there's some things you want to think about when you're deciding how to cut it. You got to think, especially as a woman, we wear high-waisted pants, we wear mid, we wear low. So you want to make sure that it'll work with all those. And even if you don't wear your pants at different levels, you got to think, what if you're wearing, what holster are you wearing, or what gun are you wearing? So you always want to give yourself a little bit of extra leeway. So I cut mine bigger, so I always have that option. If I'm going to throw a mag pouch in there or whatever I'm doing, I have the space for it. You also have to think about if you're going to be wearing your holster inside or outside the waistband. Here in Ohio, it's starting to cool down, so sometimes I'm wearing outside the waistband, but I'm still concealed because I have a jacket on or a vest or a coat or whatever, and it's just more comfortable than having it inside my pants. So you have to take that into account as well. Once you decide how much you want to cut off, it makes you give yourself extra space. Like I said, you can always make it smaller, but you can't make it bigger. And there's all these little pamphlets and they're like, stop, don't cut it. Make sure you're cutting it larger, and then you can always take away some. One thing to note is that like common kitchen shears just don't really do it. You want some heavy duty ones like this if you really want to cut through that material, which is one of the reasons why Core is so great, is they have a really thick, rigid core. You can see how nice and thick it is. Another way you can test to see if it's a good gun belt is that there's no way you can pinch these together. So this is going to hold up and stay nice and rigid. If you're gonna just wear your regular old-fashioned belt with your holsters, you're gonna go through belts like crazy because all that weight, they're just not meant to hold up to that. So that's why it's important to have a nice gun belt. After you've cut it to the size that you like, you're gonna next attach your belt buckle. The first thing you wanna do is back out those 2 screws. It's really important that you put this clamp in here first with those teeth, as you can see there. Press that down, and now we're gonna tighten down those 2 screws. And now we're all ready to go. Here's the best part about the core belts is this nice track line. So satisfying, do you hear that? So when you carry, instead of having those little holes we were talking about earlier in the leather belts, you now have this track line which allows you to make such little adjustments. And what's even better is that you can make those adjustments on the fly. So if you're gonna go sit in the car for a long time and you wanna loosen it up, or you're gonna sit down and eat a meal, or whatever you're gonna do, you can kind of just loosen it up just a little bit. How you do that is you press down on the lever and you're able to move it to whatever part you want. So if you want it to be tighter, you can press it in, and if you want it to be looser, you just press down on the lever and you're able to adjust it. Now let's see how we did. Before I started carrying, I didn't wear a lot of belts, so another little important note is that normally when you run a belt, you run it from your left side around. So when you're thinking about attaching that belt loop, make sure you think about that, because the lever should be on the bottom. So if you didn't do it right, your lever is going to end up on the top, or you're going to have to always run your belt through the right side. To test it out, I'm going to be using my Vetter holster. It's one of my ones I carry inside the waistband, because I want to make sure I can put an inside the waistband with my normal carry gun. Here you can see it's on me. I do have a little bit of extra, so in case I decide to carry a mag pouch or anything, or a little bit of extra room. And I may even go back, depending on how I use this. If I'm gonna always run outside the waistband, of course it would be even smaller, but I'm able to get my inside the waistband holster in there. And before you guys start saying you're just gonna walk out like this, no, this is not how I'm gonna carry. I'm gonna put on a vest or a coat or a hoodie or something on top of that, but I just wanted to show you what it would look like. You can see it on and see how that works. So if I press it in like this, it's gonna get tighter. And then if I wanna loosen it up, like I'm gonna sit down for a while, or I'm gonna, go for a ride, I can loosen it up, and then right before, doop, snap it back together. I think adding it in 1.25 really opens it up to different people, because not everybody wears pants with very large belt loops. Great company, great people. We actually have a code for 10% off. I will put below, and as well as a link. So if you want to go check out their products, and they obviously have it in the larger 1.5, they have duty belts, they have battle belts, they have all there. So check it out. They make all sorts of belts, all different finishes, all different belt buckles, leather belts, everything. So check out Core, K-O-R-E. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like, a thumbs up, a share, a comment. We always like to hear from you guys. You can of course find us here on YouTube. Make sure you click the bell so you get notified every time we put a video out. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, and we put all of our premium content on Patreon. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.